This is Wednesday, September 16th, 2015. For those of you who watch me on Channel 5, KCTV, Better Kansas City with Courtney DeHoff, thank you. And just want to continue a little bit of our conversation. It was just a 5-minute segment, so just had to go over the highlights, fire, earth, air, water, know your rising sign kind of a thing. But just know the important news is that tomorrow Mercury goes retrograde. And so for the last 10 days, if you've been paying attention, you've been recognizing that some of the communication style and problems have to deal with, really wanting to understand, are you hearing what you're hearing, basically? And so it's a good thing to reframe or to relook at the issue. Now, the thing that I want to say is that Mercury retrogrades the middle degrees of Libra. So he's a neutral energy. To have thoughts in of themselves is not moral or immoral. To think is amoral. So it's just an ability to process things, to imagine situations, basically. So Mercury is about that, the communicator, the law of contracts. That's what he rules. And the perception of communication. So if he's stopping in the air sign of Libra, which wants to consider not only both sides, but all sides of an issue, then know that until October 8th, 9th, while he's retrograde, we're looking at repairing our relationships, repairing the communication in our relationships. So as I learned in this mediation workshop, Core Principles at Johnson County this past weekend, I realized that part of a mediator's job is not only to structure conversation, but to reframe the issues. And sometimes that indicates asking the person, well, what do you know? Well, how does this Mercury retrograde affect you? Well, if you are an air sign, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and the closer you're born to the middle of it, you may find that this is an excellent time for you to review things as you've written, go back over communication. Particularly Gemini and Aquarius, you're working on the task that you like to do. Gemini taking more of a structured leading role. If you've been too passive or too laid back, this might be a time to recapture your control of the situation, Gemini. And then Aquarius, if you've been too dominant, it may be a time for you to be more flexible in your communication, to figure out what will actually work with you and all of the parties that you're working with. And then Libra, you're here to just maybe take on new forms of how you do communication, taking more responsibility in that way. Now, if you are a fire sign, Aries, then Libra retrograde Mercury, realize retrograde means it's just going to spend a longer time, or one meaning, that the planet spends a longer time in one area of the zodiac. So from the end of August until November 2nd, Mercury is in the sign of Libra, which indicates for you Aries people that it really is about putting, or at least acknowledging, what are some other people's needs, and being able to communicate back and forth where you can reach consensus instead of thinking that you just know what it is that is best for everybody concerned. Leo, you may find that this is a time period where you're working with siblings and neighbors and trying to refine or reassess the narrative, the stories that you tell people about early childhood and environments and conflict. In Sagittarius, this is the time where you're recapturing maybe some old friendships, reevaluating what your individual purposes are and how to get along better with other people that may not be as close or haven't been as close for a while, and now that they are. The earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Taurus, Libra represents your 6th house of work and daily service and how you organize yourself around certain rituals. So you Taurus people, this would be a time to really, maybe what you used to overlook in your work environment, you're really having to pay attention to. So increasing awareness and paying attention is on the menu for you Taurus individuals. If you're Virgo, this is the time to really reassess the budget, how you spend your time, what resources you have to offer, not only in terms of money, but also the resources that you offer physically to others, in terms of sexual congress. I like just saying that. And then Capricorn, status and authority are important to you anyway, for the most part, and this retrograde Mercury is no exception. So look at your ambition and have you sacrifice some of your principles for those ambitions, because the Mercury retrograde can sometimes bring in those aspects that you've overlooked, that you haven't looked or culled your motivations, and then it's there staring you in the face saying, hey, You may not be as of integrity as you thought you were. Then lastly, and certainly not least, of the water signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Cancer, you already should be the family record keeper, the person who goes to Ancestry.com. And if you're not, that's okay. Just know that the past is not prologue, that this might be a good time to understand how certain stories, like the Leo, how certain stories have been constructed, and then you end up following that without assessing why. And realize to stop. The love you save may be your own. So it's a time period to assess what are you giving, how are you communicating to others, Cancer, on those emotive levels. Silence is not always golden. And then Scorpio, with Libra being your 12th house of self-undoing, but also spirituality, you may find that you have a guardian angel or two in the form of grace. And so allow the unspoken in communication to kind of permeate and to reevaluate what you get from dreams or very strong intuitions. And then Pisces, Libra represents your 8th house of the mysteries and how you risk and share yourself with others. So it's a good time for you to look at what you've done in relationship, how you've shared power, and how you maybe expected people to just know what you know without communicating. Well, if you knew me, you should know. No. That's why we got the mouth and the brain and the reason. So Pisces, if you tend to be more rational, it might be time to be more trans-rational, because irrational has pejorative connotations. But understand, from September 17th to October 9th, Mercury's in retrograde in Libra, middle of Libra. Libra is about neutrality. It's about studying objectively. It's about balancing the scales between the ego, i.e. what's in my best interest, to soul, what's in the best interest of my higher self, and therefore the higher self of others. So, thanks for listening, and be looking out for that solar eclipse on September 27th, which I'm still gathering information for, and you know who you are. Thanks. Bye.